Blog Talk Radio.
Everybody, this is Dr. Carol Francis. I'm a clinical psychologist and also fitness trainer and also nutrition counselor. The reason I bring those up at the beginning of the show is that today is all about optimizing your health, making your body work for you, and working with your body so that you can really feel great. And we are going to get personal today. I'm going to tell you about my own personal experience working with Coach Dave and Nancy McDowell. Coaches Dave and Nancy McDowell. Hello, Dave. Nancy, are you there?
Hello, Carol.
Hello, Carol.
There we go. And Dave and Nancy, will you please introduce your two friends and mentors that are with you today that will guide us through really a transformation of our bodies?
Nancy, why don't you introduce them?
Well, I'd like to just introduce Steve and Jenny Berg. They have been on their journey to optimal health for probably about 4 to 5 years now. They can maybe share a little bit more about that later. And they have been our coach mentors. They're awesome, and we're just so happy to have them with us today.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad to have all of you as well. And just a heads up for those that are listening, after you hear even the first 15 minutes of this program, you're going to want to have contact with these people. So here's the first contact bit of information. We'll give it out again. It's www.nancymcdowell.tsfl.com, and I will type that in the chat box in a moment. That's nancymcdowell.tsfl.com. And so this journey starts with all of us. Every human being who lives in opulent society has overexposure to processed foods and plenty of food and more than plenty of food and all sorts of different treats that inundate us throughout any given day. And we also have a lot of sit-down time, whether it's in front of TV, computers, or in cars, and we don't have a lot of activity and being in motion. And both eating real wonderful foods and also healthy foods and also being in movement is all about health. It's all about being in the real body that you exist in and not the one that you could be commercialized into having to have with either your over sitting down lifestyle or with eating the foods that are just all processed and wrong for your body. So today, you tuned in specifically because you want to know about weight loss. You tuned in specifically because you want to know about optimizing your life. And therefore, Nancy and Dave have a story to tell you. They're going to tell you first about where they came from. What was it like, Nancy and Dave, before you found this path toward optimal health? Nancy, how about you? Tell us what it felt like. Tell us what it felt like before you found this path.
Okay. Well, my little bit of my story is just that I have always struggled with my weight, really from when I was young, and I had tried every diet in the world, and nothing seemed to really work for me. I was on that yo-yo that so many of us are, and by the time I found someone to help me, a coach to help me with my journey to health, I was 50 pounds overweight. I had terrible back pain. My blood pressure and cholesterol had started to climb, and I just had very little energy to do the things that really meant the most to me, like spending time with my grandchildren and getting down on the ground and doing gardening. And not only that, I was depressed and about my weight and just about the way I felt. And the stress in my life, added to that, just really was killing me. So It was at that point that I just said, something's got to change. I don't know how. I feel like I've tried everything and nothing's worked. So that was how I was at. I was feeling desperate.
Nancy, maybe you don't want to reveal your age, but about what phase of life or age did you finally come to terms with, I'm just exasperated, I don't know what to do?
Well, I am 56 years old, so it was about almost 2 years ago now that I started this journey.
So I think that that's really significant, and thanks for being so blunt. I'm 57. There you go. The reason I want to be so blunt with listeners is that a woman's body goes through so many transformations throughout her life, and our bodies are always playing a game with fat content and energy and, how it has to be on our body and how it shouldn't be on our body. And menopause catapults women into a really crazy weight gain process anyway. And then you have health and you have needing to work even harder to be active in order to keep the muscles that are now not toning up, toned. So I find that women in this era as baby boomers really need to face this process in a very different way than maybe our mothers did, both because there's such an emphasis on beauty and health and trimness and youth, but also because we have more difficulties maintaining it because we're not eating as much fresh food as we used to. Anyway, so I'm really glad that you're sharing this because I think many women out there in their 50s are saying exactly the same thing, don't know what to do, tried everything, it's out of control, I don't even know who or what I'm in, this body feels like an alien creature. So I think there are many that totally get what you just said. So, Dave, now bring us up on the male version of what this is like, because men often also go through menopause. You probably didn't know about that. So it was a totally different change of testosterone going on. There's a weight gain process, but you're a pretty active guy. So, Dave, tell us who you are and what it was like before you decided, I've got to get myself on this path.
Well, hi, Carol. My name's Dave, and I'm 58 years old.
Thanks.
I don't mind telling you that.
Sounds like
I'm excited to be 58. This has been an incredible journey, and I feel like it's just begun. Similar to Nancy, excess weight. For me, what was critical, we both have had the back pain. Mine was originated from a cumulative stress trauma injury over years, 25 years in law enforcement in Southern California. It created difficulty exercising, but that's what really got my attention was just about a year ago now, I found out my glucose levels were climbing. Blood pressure, cholesterol, I've been taking medication for borderline numbers for some time, and wasn't able to move any of that with exercise. Despite the back pain, I would try to do the exercise, and I put up a pretty good front. Socially, I could interact with people, and that depression that Nancy's talking about, it's that consistency that I think a lot of listeners will relate to. It's that day in, day out, what's your life quality like? And it was just weighing on me, literally. It was just getting tiring. And then when we discovered this really an optimal path to a healthy lifestyle, it just all began to change. But for me, with my background in law enforcement and thinking that I had control of the fitness area of my life, in fact, it was slowly, and just as you mentioned, as we get older, our metabolisms start to change. And I wish I'd had what we're doing now way back in my career. We're kind of bulletproof back then. We think, no, nothing's going to hurt us, and we can just eat whatever we want to eat and burn it off with exercise. Well, that begins to change over time.
Yes. Absolutely. So now you have to tell us a little bit what was the transformation in both of your lives. And I know that there are two other people here that also have stories. But Nancy, Dave, what was transformational for your life?
Well, Carol, I think what the biggest thing was that more than just focusing on my weight, I began focusing on creating health and not just on my weight loss. I began to really look better and feel better, but there's so many other things that have changed too for me. And my lab results went down, my blood pressure and cholesterol and all that returned to normal, and my back pain is, decreased. I have a lot more energy. I don't need to take naps every day. And even more than that, I can freely